All right, so welcome
names.
to our Tuesday night team call here. So we want to welcome, we have a guest speaker tonight. Amy is a part of my upline. So we have the same mentor, Angie Green, and I noticed, so a lot of times, you know, Angie will recognize us or she'll like share Success Club points and such. And I remember there was 1 month recently where I was like, oh my goodness, Amy like hit Success Club, and you could share the exact numbers, but it was like Success Club like 20 or something. And she's always been at the top of Angie's list when it comes to one of Angie's leaders and like hitting Success Club. And so I look at that as, you know, a coach who is consistent and she's bringing new people into her fit community. And so I decided, you know what, Amy might be a good person to invite on the call, because I was sharing with Amy how there's, yes, we do have some diamonds on our team, but we have lots of, you know, we have emeralds, but then we also have these coaches that we know that they want to be able to hit emeralds and they want to be an active coach and they're trying to do all the things, but a lot of times you can give up on yourself before you even get started. And so I thought that we'd bring someone on that maybe would be a little bit more like relatable. A lot of times if we have these like top coaches, it can be intimidating. And I thought Amy could be someone that maybe we can also talk to, relate with, and even she might be able to take some things away from us as well at the end when it comes to Q&A. So Amy is a full-time working mama. She has 2 boys aged 15 and 12. She's a full-time psychologist. Is it at a school, Amy?
Yeah.
At a school. So she'll talk a little bit about that. She's been doing this business for 4 years now. She's an emerald and she is working her way to diamond. She's 3 coaches away from diamond. But she said, you know what, you know, it sounds like to me, Amy, is you have these discount members, maybe some that are like hobby coaches. And she's like, I'm looking for those active coaches just like us. Mm-hmm. But you know what? After 4 years, she hasn't given up, right? She's continuing to show up every day for herself and for her team. And she is moving on and continuing on. And that's what I want to talk to her about tonight, a little bit about her business. So it's going to be more of I'm going to ask her a question. She's going to answer. And then at the end, we can also open it up to Q&A. So the first thing, I wanted Amy to introduce herself and then share her story, how she got started. How about we just start with that? How about introduce yourself, Amy, and then share your story briefly and maybe how Angie invited you.
Okay, so the Angie story is pretty funny, but I'll start with where I came from. So as Natalie said, I'm a school psychologist. I have been just finished my 23rd year, so I'm going into my 24th year, and have had some really, really rough years. So when I first started Beachbody, it was in 2012, and I had 3 of the worst years in my job that I have ever had, like wanting to curl up in a corner and cry because all I did was work. Went to work super early to write reports, worked late into the night to write reports, and I had 2 little boys at that time, so I wasn't giving any of myself to them because all I was doing was working. My son, he must have been like 7 or 8. He said to me one night, he said, "Mommy, your job is scamming you." And I was like, oh my God, you were right. They're scamming me. No one's paying me to work extra from home. So then 4 years ago, I joined Beachbody then, but just as a customer, but I wasn't doing it. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was eating like crap every single morning, like Mountain Dew from the vending machine and chocolate chip cookies every morning at 6 a.m. at work when no one else was even there. And as I said earlier, I had a 45-minute commute. So I was leaving my house at 5:15 in the morning. It was awful. Anyway, so I joined Beachbody then, but wasn't using it. And then 4 years later, so I was working out with the trainer at the time and was going to her at 4:30 in the morning, twice a week. And she has a podcast and she had Angie on her podcast as a guest one day. So she texts me later. Her name was Linda. Linda texts me later and she's like, "You need to listen to my podcast today. I talked about you." I'm like, "What? What do you mean you talked about me?" So she had been telling Angie about how I was doing Sean Week And that was when Shalene Johnson first came out with her new, I can't even think of what it's called. I don't know. She had like a nutrition program that she came out with. So I was doing that and I was doing Shaun T. And so my friend Linda brought me up to Angie, and like 2 or 3 days later, Angie messaged me and was like, you're doing all the Beachbody things. What do you think about being a coach? And I didn't even know it existed. So she told me about it, like talked to me for a few days. And then I decided just to go for it. And I'd never tried Shakeology, dabbled with the workouts, but I'd never done like a full program from start to finish. And I always tell my friend Linda that she threw me under the bus. And she's like, no, I didn't throw you under the bus. I threw you on the bus. And that just kind of started my whole like fitness, helping other people thing. And in 2020, January 2020, I became a Institute of Integrative Nutrition health coach. So that's a piece of my story too. I haven't done a ton with it yet because obviously the pandemic hit. So it was a little rough to get that off the ground, but.
So Amy, how long would you say that you've been actively coaching? Was it from the start, you were like, I'm doing this, or was it like a slow organic process? And then you were like, oh, I want to make the decision to do this coaching thing. This other coaching, because we've also talked about that on our team in regards to certifications and such. I think Sue, you might relate with that a little bit too.
So I started out really strong. That was back when you had to hit Success Club your first month to get your summit ticket. So I did hit Success Club that first month. I got my free ticket and then I couldn't go because we changed our vacation. So I started out really gung-ho. I would say that it's been very hit or miss. Like I work it when I have the time, and when I don't have the time, it kind of slips away. I've gotten a ton more consistent since December. I finally decided that like I was either gonna do this or I wasn't. Like I was tired of the back and forth and really wanted to make progress, but wasn't consistent because things would get busy at work and I would let it, go to the wayside, and then things would get easier and I would jump back in, and it was just this constant yo-yo effect. And I know one of the things we'll talk about later is how I got to Emerald. Well, my mom and my husband. So I made them members, neither one of them coach, but I'm still paying their monthly fee. I'm like, if I'm going to pay their monthly fee, then I need to be working and make it worth my while because I'm throwing my money away. So.
Okay, good for you. So that, yeah, like from the start, you made the decision, I'm going to be Emerald and I'm going to like work this business. And so that's actually, they always say sign on, your spouse or somebody, right away, because also it provides that added extra accountability. So, right. Okay. So I like that about your story. So where would you say you found would you say the rest are your discount members, maybe some hobby coaches, and where have you found them? Where do you find, I guess, your most success from December until now? Where are they from your fit community, and then you switch them over?
Okay, so with coaches specifically? Okay, so several of my coaches are for the discount, like told me up front that they didn't want to work the business at all. I have about 4 that I think would do really, really well. And I'm not sure why they haven't pulled the trigger and actually started working it. But I think I need to get more on them and figure out what's going on. One of them has signed a few people, but she kind of ebbs and flows too. So yeah, and some of them are, like I said, just discount.
And so I guess my next question would be, were these people that were in your fit community first? Would you say you have found most of your people where they joined you for the fitness and nutrition part, and then they turned into discount members / like hobby coaches?
Yeah, I would say that they were already members. They liked Shakeology, so they wanted to keep that going and wanted the discount. Yeah, I don't think I've had a couple. One of the ones I just signed in July, never done Beachbody or anything before, and signed up as a coach. said she really wanted to, go all in and work the business, but then she got really busy with work. So she hasn't actually started anything, but she bought a summit ticket. Like I got her to watch some of the virtual stuff the first day of summit, and she was really excited, and she bought the $135 ticket by Sunday. So I really think she's going to run with it once she kind of gets her feet wet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So how about the month that you had that Success Club, you hit Success Club, was it 20, 22, something like that?
I think it's like 22.
So where are you seeing your success? Do you use Facebook as a platform, Instagram? Do you do both? Do you do like just personal friends and family? Do you feel like you've tapped out on that? Like what would be your, like, what was your progression and where are you at now? And where are you seeing success? Fine.
Yes. So I do most of mine in Facebook. I do dabble in Instagram. I do Instagram stories. I post once in a while. Reels, I'm still trying to figure those darn things out. Like I've done a couple that have been decent, and then I try to do another one and something glitchy happens and it doesn't work. So I'm more comfortable on Facebook, and most of my people have come from Facebook. So while I'm still working Instagram to some degree, I focus on Facebook. I would say that most of my Success Club points, not necessarily most of them, but a lot of Success Club points have come from renewing BOD members. So I always reach out to those people who are renewing and encourage them to do Challenge Pack. And if I have a month where I have a lot of people who has BOD renewing, then I end up with a lot of Success Club points. I've also had several retention points. Those have really helped me out a few times. And most of my people are people like from my past. Like I reach out to people from college and from high school, and we have, my son's going to the high school this year. And so there's a Facebook page for kids graduating in 2025, their parents. So I kind of went through that, and there's a lot of like mutual friends, where I might have 16 mutual friends with this person. So I've started friending them too. So I try to make as many connections as I can in different ways. I don't have any family members.
So it sounds like Facebook, which is awesome, because we always talk about like try to master, one platform. You don't have to do it all. So if you're seeing some success, do you use Facebook groups? Do you have a system like you do A to Z with your friends? Is there a system, or do you just kind of like wing it, and so far it's been working?
It depends on what I feel like doing that day, honestly. Like I have different things that I kind of like, I don't really have a system that I rotate through, but I got really consistent in January with birthday messages. So I always send those out the day before their birthday. I do those. And then when someone accepts my friend request, I message them and look at who is liking and commenting on my posts. So if there's somebody, a lot of times it's the same people that are liking and commenting, especially my workout posts. The workout ones, usually it's the same group of like 10 to 15 people that I've already talked to, who are already, in my groups or whatever. But occasionally a new one pops up. Or if it's just like today, I posted about my son starting junior high and going to his orientation. So I had tons of people comment and like that post. So I'll probably go to those people and say, hey, like just start a conversation, not about Beachbody, but just like, thanks for, commenting on my post. Do you have a child transitioning schools this year or something? And just try to go with that know, like, and trust thing. I think that's huge, because the majority of my people are people who already know me in some way, shape, or form. Even if they don't know me extremely well, they know me well enough to trust that I'm going to take care of them and help them out. And then I'm not just some scammer trying to sell them a bunch of crap.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's good. Okay. One question we always, we always have to be inviting to something, right? So do you have a system month to month, what you're inviting to? Do you just invite in general to your fit community? Do you always invite when there's a program launch? And then that would lead into like, do you have a fit community? Do you run free groups? Do you run it on bod groups? What does yours look like?
So kind of a little bit of everything. And I'm kind of tweaking that. Like I'm in the process of figuring out how I want to do that. I do have a Facebook group that's free. And through that group, I'm running a challenge every month. And just like this month, it's a self-care challenge and it's 5 days. It's like, I know the kids are going back to school. August is crazy, but we still got to remember to take care of ourselves kind of thing. So I have a challenge going in there for that. And then when that ends, I'll reach out to those people that participated and say, hey, this is really similar to what I do through Beachbody. And I just send them a message. I don't post about Beachbody in that group. Like, I don't want it to be about Beachbody. I want it to be about helping people and providing content. So I've gotten some of my people as challengers from that because again, it builds that know, like, and trust factor as well. And every month I'll go in and like go through my friends list and figure out who I want to invite. Like I try to keep adding new people to that. I think there's like 150 people in there right now. They don't all participate, but they might someday. So I like having that group for that purpose.
Amy, where did you say you run that one?
Through Facebook groups.
Through Facebook. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning. Okay.
Yeah. And then I do bod groups, and I was starting a new bod group every month. And it just got to be where I felt like I wasn't connecting enough with people. It was just kind of like sitting there, and I might schedule posts or I might forget to schedule posts. And it just got like, it wasn't working. So what I'm trialing now is I do have one group with all my people in it, just my VIP group is what I call it. And I add people to that. So I'm trying to focus on that, but pulling in people, like having a Monday start date every single week. So like I'm always starting on a Monday, and all the people who join between Tuesday and the next Monday, I'll add them all at once on that Monday. So it's like a fresh group for them, and everybody else is still in it. And I think that's going to be easier for me to manage than trying to be in all these other groups. Like I tried to do like a beginners club group where my plan was to put all the beginners in there, and then after a month transition them to the other group. But I don't have time to keep track of that. Like, it's just a lot. I liked the idea. It just was too much for me. I was too ambitious. But I do with, whenever there's a launch, I have a couple of other coaches, and we all will run a group for that program. So we have a 645 group. We had a Let's Get Up group, so that there is a group for those people who want to do a program together. And that's a little easier because we take turns posting. So like each coach will take a week and post for that week. So that seems to work pretty well. And then we also do, with this other coach of mine, when there's a new program launch, we do a Facebook info group, and we invite people into that. And it's all just like talking about the program, what it's about, what it looks like, and all of that. And then we convert those people if they want to do the program, that specific one. And that we just started, I think MBF was the first one we did that with, and it went really well. So we just keep doing it every time a new program comes out.
I like the idea. I like the idea of introducing new people on a certain like specific day. Like then you don't have to be like, oh, I forgot I have to add that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. And we're going to open it up Q&A after if people want to ask more about your groups.
Yeah.
The one thing with content, are you creating your own content, or do you invest in it in some way?
I do my own. I Google whatever topic I want to talk about, and I screenshot a little picture of it, and I stick it in, and then write my post from there. Yeah, I don't pay for content.
Okay, so my next questions are just going to relate to Amy working and being a busy mom and working the business. So how do you work the business as a busy mom? So for you, is it pockets of time during the day? And are you like consistent with those pockets of time? We call them sometimes hidden minutes. or do you schedule like massive action minutes or hours, like where you have a day like, oh, I know I could do 2 hours on this specific day? Do you hop on power hours? Do you run your own? Maybe talk about team calls if that is a thing. So how would you say you work your business?
So in the summer, I work my business a lot because I'm home. My kids are older, they stay up late, so they sleep in. So I usually get up early and hit the 9 o'clock power hour. I'm in Eastern time. I don't know where you all are, but 9 o'clock one, I can usually hit pretty consistently. And then I might keep working until 10:30 or 11, depending on where I'm at in my process. And if my kids get up, and then I spend the afternoon with my kids and we go do whatever. And then I might hop back on and do some more in the evening for like an hour or so. I love my deck. So a lot of times I'll just take my laptop out on my deck and I'll just work out there. And then, but during the school year, I can't hit the 9 o'clock. I can't hit the 1 o'clock. The 9 p.m. is just too late for me, because I already said I could get at 9:30 and I just can't. If I get myself into something at 9 o'clock, I'm not going to sleep. So I can't do that one. So I do the ones on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, I hit the 9 o'clock. And if nothing's going on, I might jump on the 1 o'clock. But during the week, what I started doing in January when I decided something's got to change, I usually like 6:30 to 7:30 or 7 to 8. I just come upstairs in the other bedroom with my laptop, close the door, and set that boundary that I'm working. Like, don't interrupt me. I'm working right now. And that's one thing I've really found, especially this summer, is that I've got to tell my family, like, if it's not an emergency, leave me alone. I just need an hour and then I'm all yours. You know, like nothing is an emergency that they can't wait for. So I actually moved to an office up here, my son's bedroom, because he sleeps in bunk beds with my other son. So this room wasn't being used. So I'm like, I need a desk, I need a door, because I was downstairs working in our like open, it's not the dining room, but like front area room where they could just come and go whenever they pleased. And they would like come and ask me for stupid stuff. So I'm like, no, I need a room with a door so that they know when the doors close, I'm busy. But if the door's open, I'm fair game. So I think that has really helped to set those boundaries with them too. And I make sure that's like super focused, intentional work time. I'm not up there scrolling Facebook. I'm not texting people. I'm working the business for that solid hour.
So you're able to, for you, you are able to get in an hour or two during the summer, like every day, you would say.
Yeah. A power hour. Yeah. And those make a world of difference. If you guys can get on power hours, I highly recommend it. Even if like sometimes I'm not even listening to what they're saying or doing the task that they're doing. Sometimes I'll just mute them, but I know that there's people there who are working with me. And just knowing that keeps me focused and energized and like ready to go.
Okay, great. I like that. Jackie's a huge fan. Jackie being on here too, of the power hours. And we definitely share the schedule with our team, at least like our uplines. And then from time to time, we like to run our own, or I encourage people to get on the Beachbody Champions page and just choose a power hour even from there for some feedback.
Yeah.
Because it's hard sometimes to get on at the specific time. Right. But I like that. Okay, so moving on, guys, we only have about 3 more questions and then we'll open it up to Q&A, okay? Do you have a system of tracking, like your prospects? Do you use paper, electronic? Do you use the BAT?
So that is another thing that I've tried so many different ways to try to figure out what works for me. And something might work for a little bit and then it doesn't work anymore, and then it works and then whatever. I do not consistently use the BAT. I don't know why. I've started and it just doesn't stick with me. I joined Josh Coates' program back in February, and he has a tracker that he uses. And I have to use it in order to stay in the group, or else I'll get kicked out. So that piece has helped me to have that accountability and make sure that I get that done. So based off of that, I created my own Google spreadsheet. And he has things on there like 10 new conversations, 5 invites, 5 challenger invites, 3 coach invites, and 10 follow-ups. I'm looking at my sheet over here. So I created a spreadsheet for myself with those things because I need somewhere to put names too. So I put the names of the people I talk to. It's kind of convoluted, but it's working for me. Like a birthday message, if someone responds to a birthday message, then I move them over to the column for the people that I want to talk to because they're making an effort to converse with me. If they didn't respond to my birthday message, then I don't bother reaching back out again. And then I have a separate tab for the people who express interest because that's easy to lose track of too. Like you send a video and then you never hear from them again and you forget to follow up. Jackie's like, yeah. So I just have this spreadsheet with different tabs at the bottom and I like cycle through it. And when I think, oh, I want to keep track of that, then I make a new tab and I keep track of it. So it's kind of messy, but I think it's working for me. I think if I sent it to somebody else, they'd be like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to share it with us? But if it's like,
I can.
if there's no organization, like, yeah. But
I don't
like
mind.
that,
Yeah,
though.
I can send it to you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just as an example, like to use you can use an Excel spreadsheet. Like it doesn't have to be the BAT, like you said, if it doesn't like work for you.
Yeah, I use a
we
Google
always
Doc,
say
so.
like you have to do what works for you, because for some of us it's paper, for some of us it's electronic. But
right.
Okay. And then the one question you already I answered, but the last thing is, why have you continued to stay the course? Despite like at this point and we always talk about this too, like we've been like a slow kind of progressing team as well. Like I've been doing this for like 8 years and I, just hit 2-star diamond this year. Like, so that's one thing too, like it's possible to still have success, because success doesn't have to be that you're like a star diamond coach. But for you, why have you continued to stay the course? What are you striving for? For you, do you feel like is it belief in what we do? Is it the company? Is it the products? Is it like your personal why? What keeps you moving forward every day? And is it also like, do you just see yourself doing this for life, no matter what, even if you like stayed like emeralds, So I would just love you to share more of your insight when it comes to that.
Yeah. So I think it started with just the book, knowing that it's worked for so many people, getting my own results and feeling really good. Like I can't imagine where I would be right now after going through the pandemic and everything else without the consistency of my workouts and my nutrition and the community. Like that, these women in my community, like knowing that they were there and that people were counting on me to set a good example of how to not, go off the rails during the pandemic. I think I'm a lifer. I can't imagine that I'm going anywhere, especially since I really started hitting it in January. I mean, I've hit Success Club 8 months in a row. That's not happened. And like 3 or 4 of those months, it was 10 or above. So like, I think my belief in myself and my ability to make this thing work has grown, and I'm like hooked now. So like, I got to make this work. Plus my unhappiness with my current career and my desire to get out is really fueling me right now. Like my intent is that I will be gone, that this is my last school year. Like, don't tell my employer, shh. But that is my goal, because I've tapped out. Like it's sucking my mental health out of me. But when I work Beachbody, like I'm energized, I'm excited. I love helping and connecting with people. And it's just like, I don't know, it's more up my alley. Like I've been helping people my whole life. Like my career has been helping people, kids, parents, teachers. I just want to help them in a different way now. And it's just been so like, I'm bogged down at work and I'm not able to help people the way I want to help them. I also see a lot of stress and anxiety in our students. Like I have first graders who are anxious as all get out. And I think part of it stems from their parents who are also stressed out. So the kids think that's normal because mom and dad are super stressed and pulling out their hair. So I probably should be too. So I'm hoping that that trickle down effect of getting moms and dads to take better care of themselves will help kids in the long run. So that's part of my passion too, is that mental health side of it and helping kids to be healthier through their parents being healthier. So that's kind of
I
where
love that. I love that.
my mission.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us. Amy, you've been like super helpful. So those are my questions, guys, but feel free, if you don't mind, can you stay on for another like 10 minutes, Amy?
Okay.
And then you can feel free to ask us any questions you might have too about our team. We're here for you too. So I'm going to open it up to the team.
Okay, I'll go first because
Okay.
we know
Sarah.
Sarah has a question.
Hi,
Hi,
Sarah.
Amy. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
Thanks for talking tonight, by the way.
Absolutely.
So when you were saying how you have your group where you're adding in like your collection of people like every Monday, content-wise, like how are you getting those people started? Because like typically in a new group, you're like talking about the schedule or talking about picking the nutrition plan or talking about like using the tracking lists. And so if you have an ongoing group where you're having essentially a new start every Monday, how do you still provide them with that content they need without it being repetitive for the people already in the group?
Yeah, and that piece is a work in progress. So I just decided that it was too much to try to do a new group every single time. But one of the things, I did a 3-day refresh group and we just did it through Messenger. So what I might do is add those people to the big BOD group, but then do a separate Messenger thread with the new people to answer those questions. And maybe throw out some of those questions in the big BOD group too, and somebody might be able to give them some tips and tricks that I haven't thought of. Because I think the seasoned people can help the new people too. But I totally see what you're saying. Like a seasoned person doesn't want to listen to how do I get into Beachbody on Demand and all of that. And I do have a couple girls who just joined that they're not ready to be in a group. Like the one girl is technology deficient big time. So there's no way she's going to figure out a BOD group on her phone on the app. So I think it's going to kind of depend on the people at that time, the group.
Okay. And then how often do you strive, like forget new people aside, how often do you strive to post and show up in your ongoing community?
That's something that I need to work on too. I'll be honest, I'm not the greatest about remembering always to post in there. So that is one of my goals, is to get better about that. But I really think what I need to do is schedule them. Like pick a day of the week or 2 days of the week to schedule out 3 or 4 days or the whole week. Because I don't always remember to post in there.
Right. I know. I think we're all just trying to figure out how to make it work, that works
I need
for
to
them.
schedule it. I need to put in my calendar, this day and time is when I'm scheduling posts. So yeah, that's a work in progress too. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Oh no, don't apologize. Just curious because we're always trying to figure out an efficient way to do things, and I just wanted to pick your brain. So no worries.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's hard to like focus on the people you already have and not trying to constantly get new people. So I think sometimes we all kind of forget about the people we already have instead of, and focus on hitting Success Club or getting more people that are new in. I think that's a hard balancing act, because too, the people that you already have are the people who are going to recommend you to other people and build that compound effect too. So I definitely think that's a missing piece of my business. Sure.
Okay, some of our newer coaches, you have to have questions, ladies. Come on. Anything?
I'll throw a question out, sort of actually, hold on, it's left my brain. Oh, yes, it was regarding sort of thinking of for newer coaches, but for any of us really. I would love to hear a little bit more about your experience. I did one of Josh Coates. So in case anyone doesn't know, Josh Coates is like a business coach essentially, and he has a lot of Beachbody. He's got a strong Beachbody connection, and he's been really working with a lot of Beachbody coaches in the last few years. So I did like a trial thing with him once, and I know about his tracker a little bit, but I would love to hear your experience, Amy, in terms of how do you feel something like that type of training for somebody like with your schedule, now that we've heard about your schedule and kind of life and how you can fit it in, how do you feel that fits in and helps you focus? Like, I know saying doing the tracker that he gives you really helps you like focus on those specifics. Do you find that you get like overwhelmed? Because I know a lot of times people will look into different types of trainings or other types of coaches to kind of help them along with that, but sometimes it can feel like too much. So I'd just love to hear a little bit more about your perspective in terms of how that's helped you, or if you found any challenges, for somebody who hasn't used something like that.
Yeah. So I have signed up for, I can't even count how many different trainings and all of that stuff, and never used it. Like, it's terrible. Like, I need to make a list of all of the things that I have and go back and figure it out. But there's also that point where you can't just keep learning, you have to take action. So that's where I struggle, is like, okay, do I need to learn this, or do I need to be actively doing something like inviting? The Josh Coates, his main push mastermind, I haven't watched every single thing that he posts. He does things every Monday. There's a lot in there. That's one of the things that I've listened to when I'm driving. So my commute helps with that. And part of the reason I went with him is because a friend of mine had talked about how great he was. She saw him present at Summit. I knew his background was in Beachbody, and I feel like these other things that I've signed up for aren't necessarily Beachbody and don't really have Beachbody coaches in it. So I felt like it was a good opportunity for me to be in something that was more aligned. I felt like I would need it more. And then he also in May started a small group mastermind. And it's not with him, it's with this guy's name is Mark Hildebrand, but he's amazing. So I signed up for that because it's pretty much what I was looking for. Like, I've been in a ton of little message groups and things like that, but I felt like I needed, and usually with people who are in a similar spot as me, and I felt like I needed to be in a smaller group with people above me so that I could pull myself up and not just stay where I was. And I love all the people that I'm in groups with. Don't get me wrong. They're all super helpful. I love the support, but sometimes you just need that extra push. And I'm very competitive, so I want to be able to keep up with other people. So that's why I did the mastermind. And I like it because he'll do it's Saturdays at 11. Like, I can do Saturdays at 11. And they're all recorded. So I can go back if I need to, if I miss it for whatever reason. But he'll do each week is a different topic. And then the last week is hot seat coaching. So people pop in and ask him questions and he talks them through it. And he's very much into the life coaching piece of it, which I think we can all use. Like, there's all kinds of, he talks about mindset, he talks about belief systems, he talks about all of that stuff. So I feel like I finally found the right one for me. But yeah, to your point, it is hard to keep up sometimes, but you just for me, I just have to be okay with not being perfect and hitting every single one, but hitting enough to get my money's worth. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. I think that piece related to him with some of the stuff he does too is interesting, because it kind of adds that PD, extra PD almost, right, onto what you're doing. And I think the point as well that you just said about finding the person who connects with you the most, or that you vibe with their style, is super important with anything like that. So I wanted to throw that out there, because in case anyone's ever wanting to do something like that, it's important to really do your research, I think, to make sure that it's a realistic match for you. But I love the piece too about working with people who are kind of already ahead of you, for that competitive piece, but then just to learn from what they've done and what's working for them is great.
Yeah. PD talks about that all the time. I've read so many books that talk about how you need to be with the people who are above you as well as those at your level, because you can't always be teaching and trying to bring people up. Because, and one of the things I've heard several times is that like your team will draw up to where you are. So if you're where they are or below them, they're not going to push to go up because you're not. So I think that's another piece too. And I think I need to communicate with my own team a little bit more where I am with my business to push them to move forward too. Because it's hard to believe that it's possible. You know, I don't know about you guys, but my husband and my kids are big naysayers. They're like, oh, please don't quit your day job. You can't do that full time. I'm like, yes, I can. You know, my mom's scared that I'm gonna, yeah, they're all afraid that I'm going to lose my income. And yeah. Yeah.
So I have another question, I guess, just about in terms of, so I know you're working kind of your husband and then your mom as a coach and working their business. And again, that's something that is thrown out a lot as these are good options. I know Angie has done that as well. Obviously it's worked out great for her.
Yeah.
Any advice or thoughts on that? Like, I always think of like, what are the tax implications or whatever? So just because we do have some newer coaches here, who that could be an option for them to think about. Any feedback from your experiences?
Yeah, so that working my husband and my mom's accounts is also relatively new. Angie talked me into it. She's been telling me forever that I need to start working their accounts. But earlier this summer, she was like, you've got the Success Club thing down. Don't worry about Success Club anymore. Get to your 5 or wherever, and then start working their account. So I did just get my husband's account to Emerald. So I need one more coach to be active under me, and then I need 2 under my mom to hit Diamond. So that's what I've been trying to do, but I think it's hard because your people that are already challengers, I don't want to ask them to move to my mom and become a coach. So I feel like they need to be the newer people that aren't necessarily, they might not be challengers first, or I put the challengers under my mom's account before they go to be a coach. So I don't know. I'm still honestly navigating all of that.
So Amy, I guess Jackie's wondering about too with the taxes. So like I guess some of us understand with our husbands, because you can, obviously that is like, you know, it's like your husband. So that's right. With your mom, like, do you say like, I'll take care of it, like, and she understands all that, like down the road when she has to, you know, when you have to claim it on your income tax and stuff.
Right.
How did you word that, and how is that going?
Yeah, well, at this point, my mom doesn't have anybody under her right now. So I've never made a dime on my mom's account. So that is something that I thought about, like, I don't know how this is going to work. So I did talk to my mom about it, and she's like, she's retired. My dad's retired. Like, I don't know how. She would have to make a certain amount, I think, before they start pulling.
Yeah, I think taxes. It's like $600, right?
Yeah.
Is it 600 a year or something? Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm kind of planning on that, worrying about that when the time comes. Like, because I'm not there yet for her to make enough for it to matter. At least not in 2021. I don't foresee that happening. So she might earn team volume points if I get some coaches over there. But as far as actual income, I don't know that a lot's going to happen right now. And I do have a tax
I do think,
account,
Amy, so I do think that, and I don't know if you word it this way, let's say you have your FIT community members and somebody that really loves the products and such, and you know that they might say yes to becoming a discount member. I don't think there's anything wrong with you having the conversation with them, like, hey, I have a second business center. That's the business center that I'm currently working. So when you sign up as a discount member, I'm just going to have you quickly do this coach change form. Yeah. I work it's my account. I just have 2 of them. One's under my husband's name, one's under. So like, I really think there's nothing wrong with you saying that, if that's what you were.
Yeah, I did have one person that I did that with. who is a lifelong friend of my husband's. Like they grew up together basically. So I did, and she's a consistent Shakeology person. So I'm like, I need the people who are going to be consistently, because she'll be active automatically by ordering her Shakeology. So I did ask her, and she did do that. I think it just depends on the person.
Yeah, definitely.
There are certainly people that I feel comfortable asking to do that, and other people where it's like, nah, it's kind of a hassle. I don't think it won't be easy for them to do. Like someone who easily navigates that kind of stuff, sure. Yeah.
I have a question that kind of relates to that, and even Natalie or Sarah might be able to help answer this as well. Like when you decide you're going to sign somebody up under your husband instead, and your husband's going to show as their coach, like how do you word that with them so they don't get the feeling like, wow, is this just about money for her? Why is she doing it this way? Like, how do you word that? How do you deal with that? So they realize, they realize obviously they're still under you, but what is the reasoning you give to them that you're signing them up under a second account that you run under someone else's name? I mean, to me, like if I was explaining that to a stranger, I would almost feel like that gives me kind of a creepy vibe, So I guess I'd be interested to see, how do you guys word that? How do you deal with making that not sound creepy?
Yeah, I honestly haven't done it all that much yet. That's definitely a good point. I think with the other people, I basically just said, I'm trying to build this other account, and, it's under my husband, but rest assured he has nothing to do with coaching. It will all be me. Like no touching it at all. And just,
I think Angie always shared with me, she just said, when you're signing someone up, you would just say, like, this is I run two business centers, or like, or accounts, she says, 2 accounts. And so I am currently working this account. This is how you basically just say, like, I'm signing up all my customers under this account right now. So don't mind the email. It's under my husband's name, but I run it all. And then like, when I worded it like that, I've never had anyone be like, oh, well, I'm not going to sign up. Like, because they know you've developed like a personal relationship with them first. So they could really like almost care less at that point. I think it would be shady if it was like a cold invite and then you're like, sign up under my husband's. I agree with that. I completely agree. So I think if you develop that personal relationship, usually when you word it like that, I've never had anyone be like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
If they know, like, and trust you already, then they're going to know you're not being shady. Like I wouldn't do it with, like with Natalie said, I wouldn't do it with a cold invite. Like, oh, by the way, yeah.
Carrie, I just send them the link when it gets to the point of the conversation where they want a link to order, or if I'm doing the share a cart, I just say, FYI, it's my hubby's account, but I totally work it. I assure you, you get access to me, my group, it's my, my food prep tips, my recipes. And then if I am sending a link to his page, I have the profile picture and the blurb that you can do set up to be like a picture of both of us together, and just kind of saying how we're both enjoy health and fitness. But that I forget exactly how I worded it, but it was a blurb that explained we're both into health and fitness, but that essentially it's like an extension of my page. So
I like that idea of the picture.
Yeah. I did the same, Sarah. I was like, I'm going to picture of the both of us, so then at least they see the name and they see that it's you. And then I did the same thing, Sarah. I put a blurb of like our family versus
And then Amy, just to speak to you, I like you said, it depends on the person, but one thing, like depending on the person, another way I presented it is like it was a very business minded person, and I was like, I'm really close to hitting a business goal. I'd love to send you a gift card for a latte if you could help me out by just switching accounts. You know what I mean? Before you purchase. Yeah. And she's like, absolutely, like don't even send me the coffee. You know what I mean? But I just presented it like, hey, I'm really close to achieving like a business goal. You can help me, like, would you be able to help me out with that? And again, not with everybody, but that was just a way I presented it that seemed to go over well. So that's a thought. Yeah. You can send them a $5 Starbucks card.
Yeah, I like that. Bribery goes a long way, right?
And she didn't even learn that working with kids.
There's nothing wrong with a little bribery.
I like that, Sarah. All right, guys, let's take a quick